Is this episode bad?
I don't know, man.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristin.
This is So I'm watching Desperate Housewives, Season 1, Episode 11.
Move on.
I feel like this isn't your favorite episode.
No, I mean, parts of it were good.
We moved a couple plots around, or forward. I guess we'll go ahead and start with, well, they're looking for Martha Hoover. Yeah. And so Edie has finally contacted her sister.
Edie?
Yes.
I'm Felicia Tillman. Martha's sister.
Really?
It actually seems like her sister came prompted by a gut feeling and the fact that Martha didn't show up for her visit.
Martha and I have a very intense bond, and a few days ago, when she didn't arrive at my home as scheduled, well, that's when I knew she was dead.
Oh, honey, no. You mustn't think like that. Martha's only missing.
No, Edie, she's dead. But she's my sister, and I'm going to find out exactly what happened to her.
Well, I like, because we definitely know who Edie is, but I feel like this is kind of the first time that we were introduced to her. Like, we started the episode with her.
Edie Britt could never understand why she didn't have any female friends. She always tried to tell people she didn't need any, but the truth was, it bothered Edie that other women didn't seem to like her.
She's always had a hard time finding female friends.
Right. For
understandable reasons, especially to us, the audience. I always thought it was...
Well, she's also, like, not doing herself any favors. Like, she's not... Because I don't even think she's actually, like, flirting with the men. But just because of the way she looks and the way she dresses, even if she's just, like, smiling and waving to, like, neighbors, the wives are very put out by it.
Well, I will say, she is very clearly a beautiful woman. She is certainly a striking woman. The way she's dressed in this episode is...
She is literally wearing a Fredericks of Hollywood bustier to search the woods for her best friend's body.
Oh my God!
Over here. They found the body.
No, I'm sorry. False alarm. We didn't find a body. Susan just had some really good news. Sorry.
No, it's nothing. False alarm.
Well, doesn't that figure? Susan always finds a way to make it about her.
That I'm almost fine with. It's more so this J-Lo pink.
Oh, head to toe, baby pink. Accessories and everything. Horrible.
And it's like Gabby can get away with some of that, but it's like in spite of everything.
Also, Gabby is like meant to be like 10 years younger easy.
If they're the ages of the actresses, Eva Longoria was 28, 29 when they were filming this. And so in spite of how progressive I've been coming at this with, like, I remember all this talk about how old they are and they're not that old, everything like that. Nicola Sheridan is a woman of a certain age.
Now she's a woman north of 35.
You're too old for that outfit. You're not old. You're just too old for that outfit.
And I remember this being an issue, a slight issue that I had with Edie. And I think the answer is as simple as because she's a bitch.
Yeah.
But
well, she's
they
also
present her.
She's meant to be an antagonist.
Yeah, but they present her in such a way that it's not so much that I think she just functions differently. Like, I think she just operates on a different level.
Uh-huh.
Because she is pretty blatantly rude to Susan in this episode.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear you. Oh, but doesn't it just figure?
What do you mean?
You have to get up in front of a room full of people dressed like that. I hope they don't turn on you.
At the bar?
At the karaoke, when she's like...
Okay. We're not really... We can go there. She's not rude to her. She gets up to go get another drink, presumably from her behavior, takes 11 shots at the bar, and then comes back and immediately starts slurring, talking about how she and Karl made out at one Christmas party.
So you're kind of helping my point.
Yeah.
I think she's one of these people that is just that way. She just sort of says what she's thinking.
But then she should no longer be surprised she doesn't have female friends. Like you have to pick up on the social cues. Too.
And as I recall, it's a back and forth that they do a lot on this show, whether or not she's one of the girls or not.
It's kind of like Cheryl from Riverdale.
Yeah.
She's an antagonist when they need her to be, and she's in the fold when they need her to be. And I don't hate that.
There are certain things that I will accept from certain people because that's just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of one of the categories that I always put Edie in. I really found it interesting that her friendship was with Martha Huber. I remember finding that interesting the first time I watched the show, and I find it interesting now. I think it's definitely authentic.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are both women, very...
Piece of work.
very strong women. And again, as long as they understand the nature of their friendship, it makes sense and it works. But I guess I do think there is a character to Edie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was never arguing the other way.
I think that a lot of people view her just as like a cartoon character. And
they're all kind of cartoon.
Yeah, and I think she does care about Martha, and I think she does care about what is happening because she's largely orchestrating it. And also, let's not forget that they're rebuilding her house.
Yeah.
So we meet Felicia Tillman.
So good.
I don't remember if it got on camera, but I reacted where I was like, oh my God, that's right. Because I was like, man, they really tapped Martha Huber out early. That feels wrong. And then the second I saw that haircut, I was like, oh, right.
Does she stick around? Oh, nice.
Felicia is around for a minute at least. And even weirder. Like that the way Felicia's written, the way she looks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's as much as I am sort of lamenting the loss of Martha Huber, I think that that's the character with good writing. You could have kept her on for a while, but I think it's also the type of character where a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I do think she could have easily lasted season 1. Like that could have been the end of season 1.
It feels slightly premature.
Yeah,
I think. Mostly based on how talented Christine Eastbrook is.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't realize what you have.
Well, and also this show does sort of feel like it wants to sort of rip through plots, kind of like the Vampire Diaries and stuff, where we would start the season in one place and you'd be like, oh my God, yeah, we got to look for that cure. And then it's like episode 11 and it's like, well, we found the cure, but we don't want to take it. And also I broke it on the ground. And then there's 3 more villains after that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what?
That is the background plot, is that they are still looking for Martha and Felicia has shown up. Susan and Mike are going strong, steady and strong. This is episode 11. So if we're taking TV logic, this is 3 months.
Yeah. They've only been dating for like 2 weeks. They slept together for the first time 1 week ago.
Bad. I was trying to be on their side.
No, it's not. Although let's hold on, because that was over. I think that was over Christmas vacation. Okay. So they slept together like a month ago.
It's early.
Almost a month. Three weeks ago.
And it's surprising coming from Mike. Although
is it calculated on his part?
No, it's character informing. That in spite of
in spite of the fact that he's here to be meant to be doing a job, he actually fell in love with Susan.
He's that kind of guy.
Okay.
And so it's like we're meant to be suspicious of him.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe this is a little spoilery because I know what we're building to. It actually is more telling than anything else. And they did blurt it out in a very strange scene. You never...
Okay. I need a wide shot of that room on the set.
No. You obviously think you have some insight into my soul, so please, go ahead. Dazzle me.
I don't know what furniture they were on.
What configuration of...
Because there were side tables, but they were like this height when they were sitting. So I was like, You were like, maybe a day bed. And I was like, okay, maybe. But then it was like they were on the floor on just like a pile of pillows. And then the laundry.
Then she gets up and starts doing laundry.
The washer and dryer were right there. I was like, are you guys banging in the laundry room? Like, literally, what the hell is happening?
The analysis part of this evening is now over.
Hey, you asked.
Well, you know what? You're gonna come to Julie's party tomorrow night.
It was very strange because he says, I love you. And she's like, oh, very taken aback, not quite ready. You're sure if she's ready to say it, which is fine. And then he says, no, I get it. You have a lot of issues. And you're like, one of her issues is that she doesn't like talking about her issues. You should know that by now. 11 weeks in, I guess, into this fucking relationship. It was just all very weird. And then he was like, that's what I get for saying I love you. And I was just, there was like real kind of sloppy writing in that scene.
It was a filler episode a little bit. It was filling and sort of ruminating in.
Yeah. Well, he was also claiming that she might still be in love with Karl because
Karl was back in the picture because Brandy left him. And
I tell ya.
Hey, just about time?
For you? Of course it is.
It's cute.
You felt very strongly.
I don't know. I can't with men like that because he literally, you could see it. It's the writing's on the wall. You can see it because he's like, oh, well, you know, she says, she already knows too, because Julie told her in like the last episode, she's like, say hi to Brandy for me. And he's like, oh, she actually left me. I caught her in bed with someone else. And she's like, I'm really sorry that happened to you. And he's like, it's been really hard. And then they hug and Mike sees it, but they like play it off.
Thanks.
Well enough. And then,
which is nice because it's like, and I think this is one of the things that I was touching on with Susan because you've been very, very cautiously approaching.
Okay, I love Terry Hatcher. I love Terry Hatcher, but like, it ain't it for me most of the time.
Well, so I was gonna kind of make not the opposite, but I think they do a very good job of walking up to the line but not crossing it.
This episode was fine.
And I think that they do that frequently with her, where you think, oh, God, she's going to, you know, not handle this at all. And I learned, because it was very refreshing seeing the sitcom-y, soap opera-y machinations going through the motions. And then to have Mike see it and her kind of be like, ugh, and he's like, oh, you.
Forget it, yeah.
So it is these, you do get these weird moments of relief or release in ways that the dread of watching someone doing something embarrassing, you get nice breaks from that, is what I'm getting at.
The thing for me also is that, like, for every episode where she ends up, like, essentially nude in a public place, there are 5 episodes where that it's the opposite. So that is really nice for me. And like the thing that she gets into at the karaoke bar.
These vagabond shoes. You're an ass, you know that? No, keep playing. Are longing to stray. There's word, no, right?
Well, and it just sort of,
that's in such a better spirit. Like that makes sense.
Well, we're fully on her side at that point.
It makes sense. It's character informing. She doesn't embarrass herself. Like, I mean, that would be a little embarrassing if I thought back on it.
It's embarrassing. It's not humiliating.
Exactly. It's not. And it also, she's totally justified in that moment because she just found out that in addition to having an affair with his secretary, some amount of years before that, he kissed and groped Edie at a party.
Her ostensible rival.
But also like a relatively friendly acquaintance, a known quantity. And so it's just like, how many years of our, because that's what he was like. He was like, yeah, but what about the 13 faithful years that we like, and I was like, because you cheated, it calls all of the prior years into question. I can't trust a single moment we were together because I know you cheated at the end. Who's to say you weren't cheating the whole time? It's just, these men have no idea. And it totally is because he puts on that fucking sweater tied in front of him like the Alex Moffat guy who just bought a boat.
Trey's days, bud. Just looking dapper, my friend. Trey's dap.
And he comes over and he's like, I want to be with you again. And she's like, gross. No, absolutely not. It's just...
But the point I'm making is I think it's very interesting how cautiously we, the audience, approach Susan and her plot line.
Yeah.
And to have there be a very distinct swap where we are on her side, rooting for this, rooting for her to chew this person out, to which she does a pretty spectacular job. I don't know that I would ever...
New York, New York.
And get around the heart of it. New York, New York.
I don't know that I'd ever call her a vocalist, but...
It was sweet.
But given the scene, given that she's having a meltdown while singing karaoke, she did a good job. Yeah. Also, I just have to mention, it was the moment that I fell in love with Edie when I was 18, is that she was singing, I've never been, who is that? Charlene? Charlene? Yeah, I've never been to me.
I spent my life exploring the subtle whoring that costs too much to be free.
Which I know from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, talk about a woman who knows who she is.
Is it Hugo Weaving that sings it, or
maybe
Guy Pearce?
Guy Pearce. It's in the beginning. It's the opening. Yeah, I don't quite remember, because I remember being scandalized because the lyric took the hand of a preacher man and we made love in the sun. And at like 12, I was like, you're not supposed to do that.
Who's son of a preacher man who sang that? Only man.
I don't know.
Was a son of a preacher man.
I'm running.
Dusty Springfield.
I'm running from an angry woman. I'm running from Darlene Jean. Norma Jean Harley.
I don't remember, but it's good.
I'm running from an angry woman. Running from Dana Jean Harley.
Because it's that, and then it's always, she's 13. Songs about a girl who's 13.
She's fresh off the line. I want to make her mine. And this song's about a girl who's 13.
Jesus!
So, anyways, and also I wanted to note, it also endears us to her relationship with Mike, and to Mike specifically, because we get to see and understand him as a grounding force in a show that needs
however, you were right that, like, the whole exchange with Edie, Karl, and Susan happens while Mike is giving her song to the pianist. So he doesn't
know what's happening. He
has no idea what he's walked into when he gets back. And then she just walks up to stage in a fugue state and then just starts ripping, or like singing New York and then ripping into Karl and the like offbeats.
I forgave you because on some small level I thought that you were in love with her, and now I find out you were just groping people at parties. Top of the heap.
It's like
top of the hill.
Very
it was, dare I say, very Tina Fey, very sort of 30 Rock.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Gabby's plot's dumb. She burns the passport, which, I mean, was ill-conceived.
Well, it's also, like, in shockingly good shape after having been thrown directly into fire.
That's something I sort of remember from the 22-episode run of shows, where a show would end on a very, like, abrupt or extreme note.
Yeah.
And, like, last week ended with her burning the passport. And then this week, they're like, we need the passport. And she's like, oh, here.
Did the lawyer tell you the good news? You're gonna make bail. I found your passport.
It's charred.
Yeah, but it's like watching her burn it at the end of the previous week felt like, oh shit, we just did something.
Yeah.
And then this episode came and I was like, oh, this is business as usual.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Well, it's also like she like needs, all the accounts are frozen. So she needs money. And the lawyer is like, well, if Carlos was able to come home on bail, I could argue to the judge that he needs money to live on. They'd unfreeze one of the smaller accounts. Somehow they have dozens of, I guess, past due bills because she's organizing everything on the floor. That's so many bills, to which I was like, that's the thing that
he's not been doing.
Well, either he hasn't been paying anything or they just are living so beyond their means that, like, it's like paycheck to paycheck.
She's not responsible, so we know that, but we haven't. She's a survivor, and she's too self-centered for me to believe she let that happen.
Yeah, like how is Gabby not squirreling away money?
And so if anything, what it's doing is it's evening the playing field with the two of them, because it's like now they both have broken their promise to each other.
That's okay. Here's the other thing too.
It's like, yes, she's having sex, but also he's not providing, and those are on the same level.
Within their marriage, you're correct. But my thing for sure is like after that explosive reveal where she was getting molested by her stepdad.
But it's not a reveal in the show. No. We don't touch on it again.
But for me,
for us, it was like,
for me,
whoa.
Gabby at the age of like 15 or 16 getting molested by her stepdad, and then trading on that sexuality that she realized was commodified without her permission anyway, so she may as well commodify it by herself. That Gabby, the Gabby that we know experienced that, and then like the casting couch and sleeping with the photographer and stuff, the Gabby that experienced that would absolutely never let herself be in a position to experience that again. She has to be squirreling money away. And even if she weren't, in that case, I am on Yao Lin's side, where it's like, sell some of your hideous jewelry. I know it's expensive.
Why don't you hawk some of your jewelry? There's a lot of stuff you never wear, and most of it's ugly. Don't you have a toilet to scrub?
And so I'm like, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Because it's like the I Love Lucy antics are a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Because she gets into physical comedy.
That's not the direct thing she gets into.
But I mean, like, it's an ongoing...
Yeah.
It happens more than once. Because she takes a job hawking Buicks.
Buicks are at least a luxury brand.
Okay. At the mall, in front of the Disney store.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the fabulous Buick LaCrosse.
Oh, old doubt. If you want to watch along with us, you can head on over to our Patreon at the $3 tier, yada, yada. Yeah, and I don't think succeeded in convincing Tom and Lynette, but they all just went along with it.
Yeah.
Tom, Lynette! What are you doing here?
We're buying a new water heater. How about you?
Just doing a little shopping, trying to get my mind off things.
The other thing, too, is that I think she, like the guy was like, I'm the only modeling agent within 100 miles, which is, it's fine, whatever. But also, like, I kind of don't believe that she immediately had to start slumming it for $300 a day modeling jobs. Like, she said she used to command $10,000. And also, if she's only meant to be 30 maximum, she's got to still have contacts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know, drive 103 miles out of town. Like, I don't know. It was very strange to me where I just sort of was like, that's such a huge downgrade, even though she hasn't been working for a while. I guess we don't know how long her and Carlos have been married. Like
it can be, yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that's on the
high end.
Yeah.
So like even like let's say she's 30 and they've been married for 5 years since she was 25. That's not enough time to have like. I mean, I guess 2004 was a different time. Perhaps she's aged out of this or whatever. But,
I mean, this is when America's Next Top Model was peak television.
You want to be on top?
So yeah. So yeah, she hands over the passport. I like this Lynette and Tom plot a lot.
Okay. What?
I feel like
I just think it's a little silly.
What do you think is silly?
I don't think they should have fired her.
Okay, what's her name? Claire. They screw over Claire so bad.
Yeah.
That part I didn't like then, and I don't like now.
She can't get her old job back. And I know she was a good nanny.
They poached her.
Yeah.
And then
they kept her for like a month, and clearly she doesn't have an apartment because she was a live-in nanny, which I still think is insane.
I'm completely there with you with that. What I like is how it was character informing of their relationship. How they handle things.
I prefer how it was character informing to Tom than how it was character informing to Lynette.
As in you didn't like how it was character informing to Lynette?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But I appreciated what it did for Tom because his deal was, yes, I saw Claire naked and it made me horny, so I immediately came upstairs and had sex with you because you're my wife. I wasn't horny for Claire, but I saw boobies and I was like...
Which is not romantic, but it's actually pragmatic.
Well, sure, but also like that whole scenario wasn't really romantic. They were both exhausted and like trying to plan it. So it was just sort of kind of spontaneous and whatever. And it's like, I don't think he would have done that if he didn't see Claire naked.
No.
In which case, if I don't think she needs to feel great about it. Like you saw another pair of tits and you were like, let me go give it to my wife. But at the same time, it did create a moment of closeness and intimacy between the two of them. And I think it goes to your point that you've been making that Tom is at his heart just a good guy. He's just kind of a dummy because someone like Rex or Karl would have just like leered at the babysitter longer and then gone upstairs and jerked off alone in the shower and cried.
Or eventually gotten to the place where there's an affair.
To the point to cheat. And it was like Tom.
And so what I like about this is that because Tom is dumb, there's better words for it. He's immature,
kind of ignorant,
naive. And so he doesn't believe that there was a problem. But she, in my opinion, correctly assessed they were heading down a path to a problem.
Here's the thing.
And she, okay.
I think that if she hadn't said anything, it wouldn't have been a problem. But she brought it up.
I can make a case for both.
Because like he only started staring at her boobs again after Lynette was like, you're attracted to her.
I think that would have happened regardless. I think that was her being like, see, and what I take from it is that he relinquishes, and instead of like trying to prove his innocence or fight back, he actually is like, okay, you've proven your point. Let's as a couple nip this in the bud now, and he takes it upon himself to handle the situation.
I'm clear. We have to make some changes.
That part I liked.
He doesn't throw.
He doesn't
her.
make Lynette do it. To me,
and so, it just seems like not because I told you so is so loaded.
Yeah.
But this is the first time they're having this specific fight over another woman.
Yeah.
But it's not the first time that she saw a problem and he was like, no, of course not, because of his desire to present
like
the proper husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this was him being like, I'm not going to fight her on this. I'm just going to go ahead. And
I don't hate that. I think the thing that rubs me the wrong way the most is that Lynette overblew it in her head, and it speaks to like an insecurity in her that I don't like. Because
I would feel that way if I thought she was more fraught, but the episode never treats her like a victim.
That's true. There is a level of insecurity to Lynette, and that's like my least favorite part about her character is that she has this insecurity because I think it stems from having quit her job, but it's like
it's because she's not in her she's not in her comfort zone.
She doesn't feel good enough at any of the parts of her life that she's doing, and so like Tom potentially being interested in their much younger nanny is just like another layer of insecurity because she does know how much he loves her and how devoted he is to her. So I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. I liked what it did for Tom. I liked less what it did for Lynette, but I am with you on what it did for them as a couple. I appreciate that.
That's where I landed, was that because like I feel like I'm not making myself entirely clear. There's a lot of things that have happened, and it just, for me, it's like I said, even though I don't think there's been other women, they have had that fight before where she was like, this is a problem. And he's like, no, it's not. And then time passes and he's like,
oh, it's a problem.
You were right. This was a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I liked about it. I think we see Marla Sokoloff again.
I don't think so. I think I looked it up and she was only in like 3. Yeah.
That's kind of strange, but it serves its purpose. Which does lead us to Bree. I wasn't anticipating having this much to say about
me neither.
Well, we're the age, and 20 years is a lot of time for dynamics to change in social, in like couples and stuff.
Rex remains a total asshole.
And Andrew was real weird in this episode.
By the end of the episode, they're kind of on okay terms, but I just am like always waiting for the other shoe to drop with the two of them. She goes out with George.
Well, we meet George.
With the pharmacist,
Roger
George.
Bart.
Hello, George.
Van de Camp. You're looking lovely today.
He is hilarious.
I love Roger Bart. He's so weird.
Yeah.
And him and Bree are just on the same page in such a way that Bree and Rex are not.
Well, they're both bonkers.
And that, I was about to say, that's not necessarily a good thing.
Totally bonkers.
Hi.
Hi.
In my spare time, my garden, I thought you might like these.
Oh my, they're exquisite. Compost and eggshells?
Yes.
Oh, come on in.
Thanks.
And she is very obviously hamming it up to like put Rex in his place or whatever. And I do love that she like invites George in and makes him sit with Rex.
Oh, these flowers are stunning. They're the best ones I've ever gotten.
And while she puts the best flowers she's ever received in water, and then
they were darling, but it was,
and then sits them right next to Rex's face. I mean, it's very funny, and for him to insist that she still loves him because she prepared him food and like the nice china, and there's flowers on the plate, and I was like, literally, all of the things you've been complaining nonstop about her doing, and now all of a sudden this is like just the biggest gesture of love you've ever heard of, then go literally fuck yourself.
He's one of the ones where I'm just sort of, I have a hard time understanding his
motivations. Yeah, it doesn't
like,
make
what are you trying to accomplish?
No sense at all. And I love too that Bree was telling George, like, because she was like, oh, I'm separated from Rex, so like, let's go on a date. And he gets her to pick her up, and Rex is like convalescing on the sofa. And he's like, I thought you were separated. And she goes, oh, emotionally, he's only here because his mistress won't take care of him. Hilarious.
I do think it's important to note that she is performing.
Of course.
That.
Yes. Yeah.
And by that, I don't mean that she doesn't feel that way or doesn't mean what she's saying, or even, I'm not even trying to imply that she's still in love with Rex, but because of who she is as a person, she is still committed to the family, and thus Rex. And so it's like she's trying to make a point more so than start dating George.
She's also refusing to tell the kids what he's done because she insists that he's not coming home with them until Andrew was like,
go ahead and abandon my father, because I promise you'll be sorry.
You wouldn't be saying that if you knew what...
Knew what? Oh, come on, tell me, because I'd love to know what my father did that was so awful.
But she, like, will not tell them that he cheated until the end when Andrew catches her on the date with George. And then she's like, no.
Andrew has like a weird 180. I don't know.
It's really bizarre. That was really bizarre, too, because she says, Are
you two gonna have sex?
No, we are not going to have sex.
Why not?
Because I don't commit adultery like your father.
Should watch out for her. She's a liar.
And then in the very next scene they share together, he's like, I'll help you throw stuff out on the street.
Why are you taking care of him? Is it because of what Danielle and I said? Because you can forget that. I'll help you take his stuff out on the street if you want.
And I was just like, I have whiplash from this episode. It was very... Also, Paul planted Martha... He went and dug Martha back up, got her ring and her bracelet off, and planted them in Mike's garage. And then at the end, a dog dug up her body.
Yeah, but it's like, even that, like that... Paul is so...
He's so suspicious.
Well, and outright bad at it.
Yeah,
because it's
so
like...
bad at it.
They will be able to know that jewelry was on a dead body.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just going to be like, oh, she wore it when she was living.
Yeah.
Science is going to be like, she was living wearing this. She died for a period of time. It's all over it.
Yeah.
Then it was put dirty in. So it's like, whether they think Mike did it or not,
if they assume Mike did it, it makes him even sicker because he then went back to the dead body and
it's just sort of poking more holes.
Also, the cops were at his place when Susan came to say I love you back, and
Is this episode bad?
I don't know, man.
This might have been a bad episode.
So the cops were there, and then, but it was like very, very weird because then at the end of the episode, they were talking on the phone while looking at each other.
We must have missed something.
Houses.
We must have been talking and missed a line or something.
I think so. And I was like, is he on house arrest? This doesn't make any sense. Just go over there. And very weird.
That is one thing that I have found fascinating about this show. It's fascinating. I find noteworthy about the show. I think it's
noteworthy is pretty intense too.
Something I find remarkable about this show.
Brilliant.
It's because they have this big set. It's because they have Wysteria Lane and they utilize it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that results in is characters just hanging out in their front yards.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is a facet of suburban life. But
I hang out in my backyard way more.
I don't know. Susan is just frequently
just like sitting in the front
in
yard.
a chair in her yard painting watercolor.
Yeah.
I find it funny.
Yeah.
And it's part of what makes me like the show because I'm just like, Desperate Housewives, Wisteria Lane. So regardless,
I think that's
I'm fine. I'm fine there. So we're gonna watch the next episode and then we'll talk about it.
Right. Bye.
New